Stephanie Williams, any changes to suggest?
I would. The first thing I would like to do is speak to the employees, the judges, the sheriff, find out what their needs are from the clerk. One of the primary things I think the clerk needs to do is be able to help the judge and make her job a little bit easier. I would also like to update the processes and procedures that through software and technology, as the other candidates have said. I do believe that there needs to be more cross-training in the office for all the employees. And first and foremost, I need to be able to do all the jobs in the office. I cannot supervise anybody if I don't know what it is that they do. So I need to be able to do every job in that office as efficiently as anybody else and better than everybody else in that office. Also, the policies and procedures must be adjusted to meet the needs of those that work in the office and also the citizens of Henry County. Also, I believe that customer service is of the utmost importance. After all, the citizens really are our boss. They deserve our respect, and they deserve our complete customer service that we can give them. And also, not only to certain members of the community, but to all members of the community, not just the who's who of this county, but to everybody from all walks of life in this community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jeff Hamlin, changes?
Well, we're getting down to the last 4 or 5, so it's pretty much what they've all said. You know, technology, like everybody has said since we started this thing, is an ongoing and never-changing process, and that would have to come into play with the clerk's office. Like Stephanie said, I think a good idea would be to sit down with maybe the county mayor and the judges and the sheriff and the police chief and see how you could be more helpful to them with their, whether it be a warrant or jury duty or transporting prisoners or whatever there may be a way to improve. You know, like Mike said, you know, if it's not broke, sometimes you get complacent and you don't want to fix it, but there's always room for improvement, and sometimes with a fresh idea or two coming in with something that it would make it somewhat better. Ron has run a very proficient job. It goes to say, you know, he's been in office for 30 some odd years, I believe, and so you don't hold an office that long without doing a good job. So I would just go on the request of the office help that's been there for however many years the ladies have been there, and I'm sure they've been there for a very long time because of Ron's reputation, and get input from them and from the citizens and the people that you work with every day.
Jason Raines.
I understand why you said ditto at that last point. I'd like to highlight one thing that Stephanie said that I believe is the first and foremost thing if elected to that office. A circuit court clerk, I don't believe in my mind, and I don't believe Henry County would think that could be an efficient full-time circuit court clerk if he did not know the job and responsibilities of every lady in that office. And I think that would have to be one of the first priorities, is learning everything they do, cross-training the ladies, so if you have somebody out on vacation or sick, that it does not put a person down, where everybody in that office knows how to do the job. I believe that there is sufficient amount of technology that could vastly be used in that office to their advantage. I believe things could go a lot smoother and easier on the women of that office. I believe, you know, seeing firsthand at this county's office and surrounding counties' offices, you know, one circuit court clerk in the surrounding county showed me how that she was bringing in scanners to go back and scan all old documents to get rid of a lot of the filing cabinets that took up the space to make more room. It was something that, you know, makes it easier when somebody comes in and they need something on a docket that happened 20 years ago. Instead of fumbling through a filing cabinet, you can go right to a computer, type in the number or the name, and pull it right up. So I believe that there's so many things that could be done. You know, I could repeat everything that everybody else has. I try to add something new and not repeat, but it's hard not to when you're going last. You know, the main thing for me with that office is just cross-training and sitting down with all the officials in Henry County and see what's working and what's not working and what could be best done to help everybody else. Thank you.
All right, let's see, we'll start with Mark this time, am I right? Okay. More so than in the other two offices that we have covered today, in the circuit court clerk's office, you often have to deal with people who are being in court. They're at a low ebb in their lives often. They may be upset. How do you feel like you would handle somebody who's angry about being in court and being in your office and who presents a tough challenge to deal with?
It's a good question,
Mike
Bill.
Wilson.
Fortunately, in a lot of my work life and career, there have been pleasant and challenging environments. Starting with, as I mentioned earlier, the 911 director. Typically speaking, every single phone call is a tragedy or a challenging circumstance. As my duties required me, I had to be trained and be of the mind and personality that you could handle that. It's emergent, and that's why it's an emergency, and you have to have good common sense, good business sense, and you have to be able to handle situations that are typically unpleasant. Moving then on into banking, two of the things I've noticed in my career life that cause people to be the most emotional is money. That's one of them, or their children or family. And in banking, you have both. I dealt with customers on a daily basis from every walk of life, every status, in every kind of situation. Sometimes it was a great situation. Sometimes it was a less than great situation. But you learn to deal with everyone on their level. If they are having a bad day, sometimes you have to realize that and try to work towards a solution that helps them and to resolve it. You can't make everyone happy, but you can make the effort. And people want to feel important and necessary. And one of the things that I noticed in observation of court is, and it's a little bit of a myth in some cases, is that people believe that everyone in the courthouse is in trouble or did something bad, or they in themselves are bad. And in fact, usually for every criminal act, there's someone who was not involved as a criminal. You were the offended or the offender. And so the offended are also in the courtroom each day. So you have possibly someone who did do something to cause themselves some trouble, but they may have caused that for someone else who never had any intention on coming to the courthouse. But that puts stress on both of them. And you have to treat both of them with the same level of care and not differentiate. And that is a challenge. If you are not conditioned to that, that could be a bit of a problem. But fortunately, I feel like that's one of my character traits. One of my strong points is that I meet people well. I'm able to be a social chameleon. I can speak to those that are upset or happy and hopefully bring myself to a point to where I can help them in some manner and make their situation better. So it is a challenge, but it's one that I'm accustomed to.
Okay. Stephanie Williams.
Thank you.
How do you handle a tough customer?
Well, first off, in my professional career has allowed me to be able to deal with all types of people. From my business with TNS Advocates, I've dealt with people who are in situations where they're seeking disability and they're not able to receive disability. So I've dealt with people who are at their lowest point in their lives. They're dealing with medical issues. They are in pain and they're suffering. So I have a compassionate spirit that allows me to be able to deal with those people. In my career with the railroad, I am dealing with customers who have cars that have derailed or cars that have been damaged, that they feel that that's our fault, and they're not always happy when they call and talk to me. So they want their car fixed, and they believe that we should do it promptly, and usually those phone calls are very calm phone calls. But my job over the last almost 10 years now has equipped me to be able to deal with those customers who are happy, those customers who are upset, and like I said, with the business with TNS Advocates, that has equipped me to deal with people from all walks of life. So I believe that I have what it takes to be able to deal with any situation that comes up. Thank you.